Hey, Jessica, did you go out or something? I got home and it was pitch black. I'm not sure what's going on. Hello, Jessica, are you there?
What do you want?
Sorry, I was just wondering if you were out or had left the house to go do something. It's just getting late and you're not home yet, and you didn't tell me anything or even leave a note or anything like that. I guess I was just getting a little bit worried is all, but can you blame me?
Oh, so you're back at home now?
Yeah, I had some things I had to put in order at work before I could take off, but I'm finally back.
Is that so?
Yeah, so anyway, what time do you think you'll end up coming home tonight?
Francis, I won't be going to that house ever again.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
The truth is that I've gotten back together with my ex.
You did what? Do you mean the same ex who you said was always taking out loans he couldn't pay and trying to rope you into helping him pay them back?
Well, yeah, he was like that, but that's all in the past now. He's paid off all his debts and he's a productive member of society now. He's really changed.
I'm not so sure I would feel that way about a guy who's so desperate to get back with one of his exes.
You don't even know him, so I don't see where you get off bad-mouthing him.
If you're really leaving me out of the blue to get back with him, I think I at least get to badmouth him a little.
Oh, grow up. He worked really hard to straighten his life out just so he could get me back. Do you not see how touching that is? Well, I was moved and believe that he's really changed. That's why I decided that I can no longer be with you. He's the man for me. I'll just be going over to collect my things and that'll be the last you'll see of me. If I forget anything, you can just throw it away. It doesn't matter.
Hey, wait, this conversation isn't over.
Anyways, I'm busy, so I gotta go. Bye.
Wait, Jessica, come back. We're not through here. Excuse me, is this the phone number for a Mr. Francis Plick? Yes, it is. May I ask who I'm talking to? Yeah, I'm so sorry to message you out of the blue like this with no introduction. My name is Alex Sanchez, and I'm an attorney for Goodman & Sons legal firm. Oh, okay, so you're Alex Sanchez, and you're a lawyer? Yeah, that's right. I've been hired by your wife. She gave me this number to contact you. I hope that is all right. So my wife hired you as her personal lawyer? That is correct, sir. Okay then, I worry that I have taken too much of your time already, so if there are no more questions, I would like to give you the reason I'm contacting you. It appears that your wife would like to file for a divorce. Oh, right. I guess she's really serious about getting back with her no-good ex then, huh? So you are somewhat familiar with your wife's circumstances, I see. I suppose this might save us both some time since there is less to explain in this case. Well then, as part of the divorce process, your wife is requesting $30,000 in alimony. Excuse me? She's trying to get $30,000 out of me, even though she's the one who is having the affair? I see that you must not be very familiar with the law, sir. Please allow me to explain a little so that you can understand the processes underway here. In this case, the law does not recognize one party as being unfaithful and the other as not. However, the law does stipulate that, in the case of a woman divorcing her husband, the husband must pay the woman $30,000 in settlements. Is that seriously what the law says about divorce? Well, of course it is, sir. After all, I am a lawyer, which is a very serious profession, you know. I don't have time to make jokes about my job. You're right. I don't know a single lawyer who has ever not taken their job with the utmost severity. In that case, may I assume that you plan on paying what you owe in order to settle the outstanding invoice? Before I do that, I just want to confirm, you are really Alex Sanchez of Goodman & Sons? Yes, sir, that is correct, and lawyers don't lie, so you know it is the truth. I see. Well then, I would like to ask for 2 days before I give you my official response. You need 2 days? Yes, I have a few things I need to think about, and I just need a little time. After all, 30 grand is quite a hefty sum. Well, I suppose that you might have a point there, as long as you aren't thinking of fleeing. Of course not. If I did something like that, I would probably lose my job and then be in even more of a pinch. You have my word that I won't run. Thank you, I'm glad to hear that. Besides that, it is my professional opinion as a lawyer that it would be unwise for you to run when you have so much testimony mounted up against you anyways. Given that, it would be almost impossible for you to escape if you tried. I see no reason I shouldn't trust you right now. Thank you. Okay then, I'll get back to you with my response in 2 days. I am looking forward to hearing it, sir.
Hey, Francis, you there? I need to talk for a sec.
Oh, Jessica, seriously, where are you? Where did you run off to?
I thought I already told you. I'm still with my ex. We live together now.
Well, yes, I know that, but I was just curious where he lives.
Why would I ever tell you something like that? If anything happened to my man, I would just be devastated. So no way am I telling you anything. Anyways, I sent away my papers for the divorce already. They should be arriving tomorrow, so please submit your paperwork as well. I'm also seeking alimony, of course. I'm thinking maybe asking for $100,000, and that is in the low range. Of course, you make enough money that you probably wouldn't even notice if you paid the full sum all at once.
Oh, so now you want $100,000 instead? You really think I have that much money to throw around?
Now, instead, what are you talking about right now?
Oh, sorry, just talking to myself here, I guess. Well, look, I have no problem finalizing our divorce. I'll start working on the paperwork tonight. But as for the alimony, I'm just doing a little bit of digging around and some things haven't been adding up. I don't think that I really have to pay you.
Oh, really? And what makes you think that? The $100,000 wasn't a joke. It was a number I arrived at after carefully calculating how much I will need to keep up my current lifestyle. As your wife, I have a right to demand that payment too, so you better pay up.
There's something strange about this.
What? Are you talking about the amount I'm asking for? You think it's too much? Is that how you made your fortune? By being so cheap all the time? Well, I won't be asking for any less, so you better just deal with it.
No, it's not that you're asking too much.
Well, then what is it, huh?
Well, I was doing some research online, and I found something that you might think is pretty interesting. But I guess you'll find out all about it tomorrow anyways. Anyways, see ya! Excuse me, Mr. Sanchez, are you there? We talked a couple of days ago about how my wife hired you for our divorce. Anyways, it has been 2 days, so I'm reaching out now like we agreed. Do you have any time to discuss what we were talking about? Oh, Mr. Plick, how very nice to hear from you. So then, tell me, have you made up your mind? Will you agree to pay the full sum of $30,000 to divorce your wife? No, I'm afraid that I will not be paying any of that. Excuse me? In fact, I think I'll be the one seeking compensation for damages, so you can expect an invoice from me for the same amount. I don't think I understand. What do you think you're doing here, Mr. Plick? I'm doing just exactly what you did, demanding $30,000. Sir, I'm not sure you know what you're saying right now. Do you understand where you stand in the eyes of the law currently? I'll give you a hint, sir, and it is not good. Now please stop all this silly talk of not paying. I know it's a large amount, but we must be mature adults about this. Oh, really? And I have to pay because, according to you, this is just what the law decides a woman gets for divorcing her husband? I know you might not like it, but I am merely reporting to you what the law says. I know that a lot of people think that is how divorce actually works, but they would be quite mistaken if they did any real research. Sir, this is a fee that is predetermined by standing law. There is no mistake here. I am a lawyer, and lawyers don't make mistakes. And I'm telling you that you're making up this law and that it doesn't really exist. The actual letter of the law states that whichever party is deemed unfaithful is the one that must financially compensate the other. That is to say, the cheater, once caught, will have to pay the cheated. No part of the law is determined merely by someone's sex. And what does an armchair attorney such as yourself know at all about the way the law really works? I've already pieced it together, and I know that you're the guy my wife is cheating on me with. You're that one ex of hers. I have no idea what you're talking about. I know that you two have been seeing each other on and off for the past 3 years now or so. You see, I hired a detective to look into my wife's affair and see who the man she was sleeping with was. You hired a detective agency to spy on your wife? Not just her, you too. This detective even followed you into a bar, sat close enough that he could overhear what you were saying, and hear you bragging about your genius plan to impersonate a lawyer and try to swindle me out of some money. But do you want to know what gave you away? Just that small touch you must have been so proud of when you thought of it. But you should have been more careful, because it's the one solid reason I know that you aren't a lawyer. What are you talking about? Of course I'm a lawyer. This is ridiculous. So, are you still insisting that you're Alex Sanchez from Goodman and Sons? Of course I am. Who else would I be? Okay then, which bar association are you affiliated with? Bar association? What does where I drink have to do with anything? What about your license number? For what, my car? Oh, right. That license. Well, I believe that in this country, we have the right to privacy, and I refuse to answer those questions on those grounds. You do realize that on the American Bar Association website, it's easy to find information on lawyers someone might want, right? Wait, is this a real thing? And one more thing, the thing that really gave you away, Alex Sanchez is a friend of mine. No, he's not. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't think I ever had a chance to properly introduce myself, but my name is Francis Blick, attorney at Goodman and Sons legal firm. You're what? Well, I know an Alex Sanchez who works as a lawyer at this firm, but that Alex Sanchez is a woman. A woman? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe you never even knew that there was a real lawyer named Alex Sanchez. But if you did, you certainly didn't bother going as far as to check whether or not they were a man or a woman. Hold on here. I think there must be a little mistake. So then, maybe we should reintroduce ourselves. What do you say, Mr. Larry Potts? By the way, I already went through the trouble of running your name by a couple of databases, and not one of them produced a lawyer with your name. Of course, though, you must be familiar with the Title 53A Section 130 of our state's penal code, the one that lays out the legal consequences of impersonating a lawyer without being one yourself. In case you've forgotten, the law reads that those found guilty of this crime can face up to 2 years in prison and a fine of up to $30,000. You're joking. There's a law against that? Of course, no one has really been hurt yet by your impersonation. I would say that you might get out of this okay if you just pay me the money I asked for earlier. I've already discussed this over with the real Alex Sanchez, who has agreed not to pursue any actions against you as long as you agree. And so long as you never forget that this is a crime to do what you try to. I see. I am very sorry.
Hey, Francis! What did you do to Larry? What's wrong with him?
Sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
He told me he was going to pay you the money that you demanded from him. He told me that I wouldn't get what I wanted from you. What did you do to him? What kind of lies did you feed him? All I wanted was $100,000, and this whole thing could have been over. Why did you have to go and ruin everything?
Oh, I think I see what has happened here. You never told Larry about what I do for a living, did you?
What are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything?
Although when I noticed that one of you was asking for $30,000 and the other for $100,000, I realized then that you must not have been working together. The two of you were both trying to extort money from me without telling the other.
I seriously don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about your partner in crime, the one you cheated on me with. Did you know he came to me pretending to be a lawyer and demanding $30,000 in alimony on your behalf, even though I'm a lawyer?
He what?
And according to some digging around I've done, it seems that Larry is still in quite a bit of debt. He must have seen this as his chance to get some money to help pay it off.
What do you mean he's in debt? He told me he's working a job where he makes $200,000 a year.
I'm afraid that was probably just a lie to get you to come back to him. The truth is that Larry is a hopeless gambling addict with a huge debt.
That's impossible!
Now, as for you, you do know that women don't just automatically get paid out during the divorce process, right? In fact, if there is evidence of them cheating or other form of infidelity, then the amount is reduced or even completely negated.
No, that can't be. So you mean I won't be getting any money?
Of course you're not getting any money. Wow, did I really marry someone so stupid? I pity myself more than anyone right now.
Francis, can I tell you something?
What do you want?
I've decided that I don't want to get a divorce after all.
Are you serious right now?
Of course, it was such a silly thought. I'll leave Larry right away and come straight home.
Well, good luck with that. I've already moved.
You moved?
Well, yeah, now that I'm single, I didn't really need a place as big as we had.
I cannot believe you. Where am I supposed to go now?
That is really none of my business. You could try moving back in with your parents.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I'm just giving you some ideas. Although they're not too happy with you right now, so I don't know if they'll actually help.
What are you talking about?
Well, I called them up to let them know about the divorce and your cheating. They were pretty shocked, to put it lightly. So anyway, they might not be up to helping you right now.
What is this? What did you do? Why did you bring my parents into this?
Well, they called me because they hadn't heard from you in a while, so I told them what you were up to. Anyways, see ya. After that, I heard Jessica lay low at Larry's house, avoiding her family's angry phone calls. As for Larry, he had given up the fight already and was eager to have Jessica taken off his hands. He ended up breaking up with her, seeing as how all she had brought him was more debt. She left, but not before they were both served with papers. Jessica agreed quickly to the terms of the divorce that I proposed, and Larry paid off the fees for impersonating my colleague. After that, it seemed that Larry really did turn his life around and became a productive member of society. Hopefully, he finds his own way and he can live out a happy life. As for my ex-wife, however, her attitude only got worse. She could only ever manage the motivation to find a part-time job. I think her plan now is to find a rich, unmarried, middle-aged man and marry him instead. I feel bad for that poor guy already. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this. Ashley, you and I are getting a divorce. I'll be sending you the petition soon. Don't waste any time signing it. We don't need to drag this out any longer than necessary.
What are you talking about? If this is your idea of a joke, it isn't funny at all. Asking for a divorce out of the blue? Really? What is this all about? If this is some kind of bit, you can scrap the rest of it because I'm not laughing.
This isn't a joke. I'm as serious as a heart attack. We're getting a divorce. I don't appreciate that you aren't taking this seriously. I really don't think we should waste any more time discussing whether or not you want to accept the reality of the situation.
Keith, I don't even know where this is coming from. What in the world is the meaning of all of this? How am I supposed to make any sense of this? You said that you had to go to your parents' house to take care of something as soon as Joseph's funeral ended. You made me go home by myself, and I haven't heard anything from you in over a day. Now you're asking for a divorce? This is the first thing I've heard from you since the funeral. Excuse me if I don't find this whole situation anything but absolutely insane.
When I went back to my parents' house, we talked about Joseph and everything that's happened recently. We ended up deciding that this would be best for the family. So it's decided. There's nothing else that you and I need to talk about. We will be getting a divorce, and that's that. After the divorce is over and done with, we decided that I'll marry Joseph's widow.
Keith, what is wrong with you? You can't seriously be talking about marrying Amy. I can't believe you're even entertaining this charade for even a second. Have you lost your mind? What rationale led you to this conclusion? Just because Joseph has passed away, you think you need to step in? Do you have some kind of hero complex?
Ashley, how many times do I have to tell you that this isn't a joke? Why is it so difficult for you to accept reality at face value? Look, Joseph isn't with us anymore. As much as I wish it weren't true, nothing is going to change that. Now that he's gone, Amy is a widow. She's been left alone with her 2 young children. Can you even imagine what kind of situation she's in right now? How difficult it's going to be for her to raise those children by herself as a single mother. Put yourself in her shoes for a moment.
Keith, of course I realize how difficult that would be. I don't think you're looking at this from a reasonable perspective, though.
How could you say that? Do you think that you could manage that kind of life? There's no way she can take care of 2 children while also working to provide for them. That's why Amy and I need to marry. I'll support her so that she doesn't need to do it all on her own. The good news is that between Joseph's savings and life insurance, she's financially pretty secure for the time being. But regardless, it isn't going to last forever. And even if it would, she needs someone to be there for her and protect her. Don't you think it would be safer for her and her children to have someone there for them? I'm not doing this for myself. This is for Amy and her children. For Joseph's children. They need a father figure. Well, do you get it now? That's why we need to get a divorce.
I don't even know what to say to you. Have you even talked to Amy about this? Or are you just speaking on her behalf? What does she think about your ridiculous idea? It doesn't matter what plans you think up, which apparently you've come to such a solid conclusion. You can't rope someone else into your delusions if you haven't even consulted them.
I told you, my parents and I decided all of this the other day. I haven't told Amy about any of this yet. I don't think she will react negatively, though. Amy doesn't have any reason to oppose the idea. This is all for her, and it's all in her best interest. I'm sure she will support the idea. Besides, she has always had a thing for me. She'll be more than happy to hear about all of this.
Amy, you're telling me she's interested in you. How do you even know that for sure? How long has this even been a thing? I've never heard you or anyone mention this before.
You really are oblivious sometimes, you know that? It's so obvious how she feels about me. Anyone would have noticed just from the way she acts around me. There's no doubt in my mind that she's interested in me. It makes my suggestion impossible for her to decline.
Surely you're mistaken. That doesn't seem like Amy at all. I've never known her to be like that. Keith, I think you're thinking about this all the wrong way. You've lost someone very close to you, and Amy lost her husband.
Of course you would say something like that. It's because you're jealous of her, isn't it? She's young and already has children. You don't need to let envy make you bitter. This is to help her, so put your personal feelings aside.
Excuse me? Do you think that I'm insecure? I'm not jealous of Amy at all. I'm trying to get you to look at this from another perspective.
Because you've been struggling with infertility, you can't let things like that get in the way of the bigger picture. I understand that you feel the way you do, but you need to act like an adult. I'm sure you must be frustrated, but this is a difficult situation. You can't blame Amy.
I don't understand you at all. This is absolutely insane.
Stop trying to find someone to blame. The fact that you're acting the way that you are just goes to show that this is the right decision for me. It doesn't matter anyway. This is happening. Amy and I will be getting married. I'm sure she would be more understanding if she were in the position that you're in. Amy isn't as flawed and cynical as you are. It's imperative that I be there for her, to take care of Amy and her children, and everything that my brother has left behind for them.
Is that really what this is all about? I thought it was just a coincidence that you brought it up before, but now I'm starting to wonder if this is what you were after all this time. You want your brother's money, and it's as simple as that.
Now you're accusing me of being greedy? You're unbelievable. You're letting your frustration get the better of you. I'll have you know, my mother is strongly in favor of this decision. She supports it 100%. Do you think that just maybe you're in the wrong on this? My mother's even suggested that Amy and I live together with my parents while we get situated. It won't be long now before that inheritance is mine. I will do everything I can to take care of Amy and her children in a comforting home.
There it is again. You mentioned the money again. You're so transparent.
Please, don't be petty. It's not a good look on you. Don't you realize that this is beneficial to everyone? Stop thinking of yourself for once. Honestly, my mother is tired of you and your games. Maybe I should have listened to her from the beginning about our relationship. She's always known how greedy and self-centered you can be. I can't believe I didn't see it until now. While my father may not see eye to eye in the situation, it can't be helped. I'm confident that when he's living comfortably with his grandchildren close by, he will change his tune very quickly.
You don't realize how selfish you are being. You're creating this whole narrative of non-existent problems that you need to solve. It's easy for you to talk about your responsibilities from this wondrous moral high ground that you've created. You're only thinking of what's best for you rather than what really matters.
What do you even know about what's beneficial for the many? You aren't capable of fulfilling your duties as a wife. Don't act like you know anything about responsibility. I've had it with your ignorance. I won't ask you again. You have the ability to make the divorce as smooth as possible. Take some comfort in the fact that you can actually do things right for once.
I don't think I want to argue with you about this anymore. This is a side of you I have never seen before. I wanted to write this off as coping with your grief, but you aren't who I thought you were. Your behavior and your greed is sickening. I don't want to be stuck in a marriage with you now that I know this is how you feel. You'll get your divorce and everything that comes with it. I'll be taking half of her savings, of course. I don't want to be involved with you in any way after this. I won't even request alimony. I don't want anything binding us together in any way, shape, or form. Since you're so eager to get on with your new life, I'm sure you'll be happy to start the cancellation process for our apartment. Just send all the documents to my parents. They'll pass everything on to me.
I'll make sure the documents get to you as soon as possible. Again, don't take any more time than necessary to get this finished. And don't let your bitterness get the better of you. You really need to learn to see beyond your own nose. You do well to recognize that the world is far bigger than you. It might help you get a better perspective on things moving forward.
So that's the gist of what he told me when he demanded the divorce. Did you have any idea that this is what he had in mind? The way he worded it, it was almost unbelievable. He said he hadn't mentioned a word of this to you. I'm totally speechless. He actually said all of that? You're absolutely right. I had no idea about any of this. I didn't even know he felt this way about me. I mean, that's insane. Why would he think I'd be okay with that? The thought of getting married to anyone again hasn't even crossed my mind. What kind of person would I be to rashly jump into another marriage so soon? And with Keith? Joseph only just passed away. The fact that he came to you with all of this so suddenly and demanded a divorce? What was he even thinking? Has he totally lost it? I can't believe he jumped to such an insane conclusion. I couldn't have said it better myself. The whole situation is so off the wall. This isn't something that I ever really wanted to talk about, but I feel that I should now that it's relevant. If I can be completely honest with you, I've never felt very comfortable around Keith or Marilyn. It's something that's always bothered me, but I couldn't bring myself to mention. He's always been weird whenever he was around me. I'd almost call his behavior flirtatious if it weren't so uncomfortable. As soon as Joseph and I were married, Marilyn would constantly bring up when I'd be having children. She'd also excessively rant about how much she loved Keith, but she'd only criticize Joseph. Someone was always there to step in and help me before any situation had ever become too uncomfortable, but I don't know. I'm sure they never meant to make me feel uncomfortable. I just don't like being around either of them. Amy, you need to be the one to make sure this doesn't get out of hand. You need to be direct about your feelings on all of this. I'm sorry they made you feel so uncomfortable. I wish I could have done more to help you. I know you're in a difficult position, but you need to be strong. You can't show them any weakness. Otherwise, you'll not get through to them and they'll keep bothering you. Speaking of going about things delicately, I was so caught off guard after the funeral ended. They both kept asking me about how much money Joseph left behind and about how difficult it would be for me to manage on my own. I couldn't believe they were asking me that, especially at such an inappropriate time. I couldn't tell if they were just being nosy or if this was some awkward way of trying to show concern for me.
Are you kidding me? Keith asked you that on the day of the funeral? The nerve of that man! I'm so sorry. You don't deserve to be put through all of this.
You haven't done anything wrong. None of this is your fault. Please don't apologize. I don't want you to blame yourself for any of this. I don't have any intention of getting married right now, especially not to Keith. I will be perfectly capable of managing on my own and taking care of my children. I'll figure things out one way or another.
You won't have to do everything entirely on your own. I know that you have good judgment too. I'm sure they won't waste any time in telling you about their plans. In the meantime, if you need to buy yourself some time to avoid any confrontation, tell them you aren't in the right place to make any decisions. I'll do everything I can to help you. You aren't alone.
Of course, I'll do what I can not to burden you with all of this. I'm so sorry all of this has happened. I can't thank you enough. Thank you for looking out for me.
Ashley, this is awful. She's gone. Amy is gone. I don't know what to do. I don't know where she's gone.
What do you want? Why are you messaging me?
I went to Amy's place today. She's not there. I gave her plenty of time to grieve. I gave her plenty of time to think everything over. I wanted to give her a chance to have an honest discussion about the marriage with her. But she's gone. Apparently she's already moved out. She left without a trace. She took everything. All the stuff, all the money, everything. What's the meaning of all of this? If she's trying to say that she doesn't want anything to do with me or my family anymore, then I won't stand for this insult.
Amy didn't take anything from anyone. Everything that Joseph left behind is for Amy and her children. All of it belongs to them. There shouldn't be any problem with Amy doing whatever she pleases with her possessions.
This is all a huge problem. We were supposed to be getting married. How am I supposed to do that now? She's taken all of that money and left. She's taken the children and left. She's betrayed me. She's betrayed my whole family.
Amy made the right decision. That ridiculous plan of yours was all in your head. Did you really expect it to play out the way you imagined? What were you thinking? Who in their right mind would go along with your delusional scheme? She lost her husband and you really thought she'd want to remarry her brother-in-law? She doesn't want anything to do with you. Besides, you've made your intentions quite clear. You only care about stealing Joseph's money.
You don't have any idea what you're talking about. You're clueless. If she was thinking rationally, she would know that marrying me is the best option for her well-being. Not just good for her, but for her children, for taking care of her finances. There is no reason for her to refuse. We could have been living comfortably together with my parents. How does she plan to take care of everything on her own?
Keith, maybe that is all well and good for you, but it's just that. Those are all things that you want and that you think are convenient. Amy doesn't want you to save her. She doesn't need you or your family to take care of her. She has made that quite clear. You don't need to take care of her finances either. A bank is perfectly capable of that. She's always taken care of things at home. She's always taken good care of her children. Why would she need someone she doesn't care about to step in and try to do things for her? It's totally unnecessary. Plus, she has a really good relationship with her family, so she has all the help she could possibly need with her children if she wants it. I don't think her children are particularly attached to your mother, and they definitely don't care about you. It would only cause more harm than good if you guys suddenly forced yourselves into their lives. I can't imagine a more stressful situation. Both Amy and those children are gonna have better lives without you being any part of it.
You don't get it. It isn't about that. Amy is in love with me. I know it. She can't just take off like this. Her and I had a moment back at Thanksgiving. Our hands touched. Then I knew exactly how she felt about me. I could see her reaction and her laugh and smile. She loves me.
Are you really that dense? You have got it all wrong. She doesn't like you at all. People don't always laugh because they're enjoying themselves. She was uncomfortable at best. You're so full of yourself. Do you think that women like being flirted with by every man that sees them? Do you think that whenever a man tries to make a move that everyone is elated? You need a serious reality check. I can't believe I never realized how sick and pathetic you really are. Besides, you were her brother-in-law. How could you make such a huge leap in logic based on something so insignificant? You can't see reality past your inflated ego. You never noticed how Joseph and I had to step in? We could tell how uncomfortable you'd been making her. It wasn't too difficult to figure out how she felt.
You only intervened because you were jealous, right? You didn't want me talking to Amy because you were jealous of her. You've always been jealous of her because she's younger and more beautiful.
Maybe in your sad reality, but it isn't the truth. She was uncomfortable. It was sad to see her being pestered by a pathetic old jerk. It's as simple as that. I was just trying to look out for her. If you don't believe me, she even said it herself. She doesn't like to be around you. I'd even go as far as to say that she hates you. I don't blame her, to be honest. She wouldn't say it so harshly, but I'm more than happy to. That's why she's gone. She doesn't want to be roped up in an unhappy marriage with you. Well, has it finally sunk in? Have I gotten through that thick skull of yours? You need to give up.
This is just awful. This can't be happening. Once I remarried Amy, I was going to be able to have a claim to Joseph's money. Now what am I going to do? I already bought a new car. I thought that I would be able to cover it with the life insurance money.
A car? You bought a car?
Of course I did. You know how much I've always wanted a sports car. I've already gone through all of the paperwork for the purchase. I can't back out of it now. If Amy and I can't get married, if I can't get that money, I'm not going to be able to afford this.
Your stupidity is baffling. Are you seriously telling me you went and bought a car with money you don't even have? Your delusion of remarrying your brother's wife was annoying enough. Now you've gone and done something even more stupid. I think I've lost brain cells from this conversation. How could you be so reckless with money? Money that isn't even yours. You bought something on a whim, thinking that all of this would just work out for you in the end? I'm sure you went for the most expensive car, too. You even had the nerve to try claim responsibility for taking care of Amy and her children. How can you take care of another human being if you can't take care of your own finances? It was all just a facade. Lies to bring yourself closer to this pipe dream of a reality you've come up with.
It's always been a dream of mine. It's not fair that my dreams can't be a reality. I've always wanted to own a car like this. I deserve it. I almost gave up. I figured I'd never be able to afford a car like this making the kind of money I do every year. But I finally had the opportunity to get that kind of money. It could have been mine. Why shouldn't I have tried to take that chance? Why shouldn't I have tried to buy the car I've always wanted?
You are unbelievable. You are acting so pathetic. Do you even realize what you're saying? You are twisted. You were going to ruin Amy's life and the lives of your nephews just to buy your dream car? Do you think she would even have let you use Joseph's money to fulfill your greedy desires? Your brother wouldn't have wanted you throwing his money away for something so trivial. That money is to take care of his children, for their future.
If we had been married, it would have been our money.
You're so unbelievably self-centered and irresponsible. Well, you don't have to worry about the money. It isn't yours. It'll never be yours. You and Amy will never get married. Amy will never have to worry about you again. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee.
Then what am I supposed to do? What do you suggest? How am I going to pay for this car? I already had to give you half of my savings in the divorce. I'll never see any of that money again. Even if I took out a loan, I'll never be able to cover the costs. It's more than I'll ever be able to cover.
You purchased the car. It looks like you're going to need to figure out how you'll be able to afford it. And if you aren't going to be able to, I guess you'll just have to suck it up and get rid of your precious car. Figure it out. You're an adult. It's not my problem anyway. We're divorced. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Don't say that. You do know me. I've given up on Amy. I'll forget all about it. I don't know what came over me. You and I can mend things, though, right? It doesn't have to be the end for us. It doesn't bother me if we can't have children. I don't mind either way. We can get back together and make things right. We can put all of this behind us.
You can't be serious. Do you really think I would even consider being with you again? After everything you've done? Now I know what kind of person you really are. You've shown me everything that I need to know about you, and I'm glad you did. There's not a chance I would ever take you back. I'd have to be out of my mind to even consider reconciling with someone as scummy as you.
Why would you say something so cruel? Don't you have any pity? I need help. I was an idiot for making us get a divorce. I told you. I don't know what I was thinking. I made a mistake. I'm begging you, please don't leave me. I need you.
You are utterly shameless. You don't deserve any pity. You tried to steal and manipulate your way into getting what you want. You've made a lot of mistakes, but the one thing you've done right was releasing me from my marriage to you. Unfortunately, it doesn't make up for everything else you've done. I don't want to hear from you again. There's nothing left to mend between us. We're done. Enjoy being the owner of a brand new sports car while it lasts. I hope it's worth all the trouble you went through. Even after reality started to set in, Keith wouldn't give up on trying to keep the car that he couldn't afford. Despite the fact that he claimed to have given up on Amy, he continued to pursue his marriage attempts. Keith also continued to try getting back together with me. I guess he was hoping that one of his attempts would be met with success. Even though I ignored him, calls and texts poured in, each more desperate than the last. Keith stubbornly held on to hope that things would work out and past the point of being able to return the car. However, as the deadline for payment slowly approached, he had no choice but to sell the car. He never even got to drive it once. Since it couldn't be considered a brand new car, it lost a significant amount of value when he sold it and was still left with substantial debt. On top of being abandoned by Amy and her children, Marilyn's husband suddenly left as well. He gave up on his marriage with Marilyn, much to no one's surprise. He always seemed so kind, despite being married to such a nasty piece of work as her. Marilyn shut herself in her home, making fewer and fewer trips out of the house. It's difficult to not feel a bit of pity for someone so blinded by greed that they tear their own life apart, even if they did not have pity for those around them. After my divorce, I moved closer to my work and have been focusing more on my career. I've kept in touch with Amy and occasionally get to spend time with her and her children. Amy is doing everything she can to provide for her children. Unfortunately, it can be very difficult to raise and provide for children almost entirely on your own. Despite the difficulties, she's been able to adjust to her new life and make things comfortable for her family. I'm sure that Joseph would be proud and relieved to know that she's doing such a wonderful job. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video and want to see more like it, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.
Look, I'm only warning you one more time. Stop using the damn elevator. You're a third-rate worker that doesn't have the right to use the luxuries of this building. God, all of you labor workers really are meatheads that don't understand the first thing about etiquette. Do you even have a college education? You probably didn't even finish high school. I'm sorry, Chief, but if I may ask, what's the issue with using an elevator that's open to the public? I never heard that rule when we went over the briefing.
If there's some particular circumstance I'm unaware of, then please let me know and I'm sure we can work something out. You're a damn labor worker, for God's sake. That's enough of a reason for you to be prohibited from going anywhere near the elevators. I'm the CEO of a construction company. We live in two completely different worlds. Do you understand that? When you get to my level of importance, you understand how crucial it is to let your superiors go first. I'm only asking a basic question, sir. I don't understand why you're taking all of this to a personal level. I've never heard of a single law in this company that prohibits someone from using the elevator. If there's something that has changed over the past few months, then please let me know. But if not, then I believe what you're saying is discrimination.
Who do you think you are? Acting all high and mighty even though you're just a low-income construction worker? You think you can get away with speaking like that to your superior? I can make you lose your job just like that, you know? You don't want that to happen, do you? Better yet, maybe I'll cut all ties with your company altogether. Guess what would happen then? You'll need to beg for forgiveness from your boss.
Making a decision to cut ties that quickly just because of a simple question? I'm sorry, but I don't understand you at all. You're just going to destroy your own reputation if you keep cutting ties with collaborating companies and be labeled as hard to work with.
You think you know more than me, is that it? You think that your pathetic opinion is that important, do you? I'm in the position to throw your company out just like that if I wanted to. There's plenty more to choose from. You'd be surprised at the amount of third-rate pigs there are that will do anything for a bit of pocket money.
How will your own staff start viewing you then if they realize their CEO is a money-hungry man who will easily replace those that work under him? Though I suppose my advice here is going to go out the other ear just because you view me as a worthless construction worker with no power. Are you even allowed to make a decision as big as cutting off plans by yourself without the opinions of your coworkers? Besides, our contract states that you can cancel the plans of working alongside us unless a major issue arises.
Just stop talking. You're digging your own grave. Do you understand your position? You have no right to order me around like this. If I want to call up a job, then that's what will happen. That's the amount of power that I have.
Just because you have power doesn't mean you're in the right to abuse it left, right, and center. Even the employees who all work under you have their own lives that they have to live. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's a single thing that I've said that goes against the company's conduct. If anything, I think you're the one who's stepping out of line.
Your whole attitude towards me is the definition of stepping out of line. In our society, it's those that are in power that have every right to run things however they want, and those under the leaders have to do exactly as they're told. So if I say that you're in the wrong, it means that you're in the wrong. So stop arguing with me and learn your place.
Do you treat all your coworkers with this much disrespect? I'm surprised they all still work under you. I can't believe you're a full-grown adult and yet you still think like a schoolyard bully. There's being a leader, and then there's being an abuser.
You wouldn't know the first thing to do to lead a company. Do you honestly think you're going to win this argument? Because all the cards are against you right now. I have more power than you could ever imagine. You should go back to school and relearn how social hierarchies work. And get some manners while you're at it, too. How old are you anyway? You've probably been living this disrespectful lifestyle all your life.
If I need to relearn my manners, it seems like you need to go back to basic human interactions. I would never have guessed that you were such a disrespectful man.
You keep talking back to me. Do you really think that's acceptable in any way? And what was with those reports you sent in anyway? Are you sure you went over them? A high schooler could have done a better job. How have you missed the mark this much?
I put all of the information into the templates that you sent over, but was there an error somewhere? I can always get it fixed up if you mention the specifics, but I did exactly as you told me.
I didn't know that you could get a full-time job with writing skills this poor. Your whole company is an absolute disgrace, you know that? None of you know what doing a good job looks like. I can't believe I have to keep telling you dumb workers how to do your job, and yet you still mess up this bad.
Well, I did everything you told me to using the same template provided. So if there were any issues with the final product, then couldn't it be an issue in your template? Obviously, the completed document isn't going to sound as professional if the foundations aren't solid enough. Why don't you look over your template once more and check if it's up to your company's standards? You did not just say that. Say that one more time. Are you saying that you have an issue with the way we do things? How dare you? Blaming your own mistakes on me just because you couldn't do the simple task that was given to you. Please, calm down. It was just a possibility that I suggested. I'm just trying to work out what the problem is along with you. I want this job to go as smoothly as you want it to, after all. So let's work out a solution to what has happened and move on from there. But if it really was an issue on my end, then I truly apologize for any inconvenience I've caused, and I'll make sure I fix the problem. You should have just said that from the start and taken the blame. You're the one in the wrong. Hurry up and fix those documents up to my standards this instant. You have 1 day. I better see them done by then. Well, could you please at least go over the issues that were present in the document? I can't really fix something if I don't entirely know what I need to fix. I told you to deal with it, so you better fix it all by yourself. I don't owe you any explanation. Stop trying to get someone to hold your hand for every single thing you do. You're not a high schooler anymore. Act like a proper adult with responsibilities. You're not at the age where you should be expecting the answers to be given to you. I understand. Is that all you wanted to talk about? If so, I'll be heading back to my work as I need to get all of this done now. Now, if you'll excuse me. Hey, George. I hope I've caught you at a good time. How did work go? I'm guessing it all went well today. I hope you didn't get grilled at by the chief. Oh, Max. Yeah, hi. I just finished up work for the day. You guessed it, though. The chief went off at me about the most simplest of things. He was criticizing me for using the elevator, for God's sake. I didn't even know what to respond with because of how shallow his reasons of getting angry were. But I tried to respond as professionally as I could to show that what he was saying was absolutely absurd. But I don't know if the message got through to him. Oh, look at you trying to put him in his place. I like it. See, he threw boiling coffee all over me once at work. I still can't forget how painful that was. I can't help but get paranoid when I'm around him these days. Wait, what? I've never heard you mention this. Did you bring this up to the other higher-ups? Surely that's a violation of your rights. That might even get him fired if the word gets out. Well, I was planning to tell the other higher-ups, but he started to blackmail me about it. He told me that his company doesn't need anyone that can't solve their problems by themselves, and said he'd fire me on the spot if I got help from someone else. So there isn't anything I can really do about the whole situation, unfortunately. Jesus, to think even he'd take it that far. Yeah, I suppose most people in your shoes would unfortunately react the same way and not be able to do anything. Yeah, it's frustrating, but it can't be helped. But it's not just me. Everyone around me is just as tired with dealing with him at this point. Really? How does he still have his job? Power, I suppose. But there's people that give in to him and break after a while. I've known a ton of people that are newbies to the company who quit immediately after being abused by him as they can't take the damage to their mental health. The brighter you are in the workplace, the more the chief harasses you to make you quit quickly. It's as if he doesn't want anyone to work under him or something. So that's what's been happening, huh? I suppose that explains his incredible prejudice against low-income workers. I mean, I experienced that firsthand. Yeah, that's just the type of man he is. Talk about a superiority complex. He'll go off about you doing a terrible job at whatever work you're doing at the moment and not explain why he thinks that way. It's all because he enjoys the fact that people under him can't fight back. Oh, and he treats women workers even worse too, if you could believe that. He's an abuser to the heart, and it gets much worse if he's dealing with a frail girl in the office. The more superior in front of someone, the worse they get treated. That's just how it works, unfortunately. Who knows what he gets up to with women that have no choice but to follow his orders because of power dynamics? It's disgusting. He's a married man, too. Like, how gross can you be? Jesus, that's truly evil. How can someone be this blatantly vile in front of so many people? But to think he's treated me with that much disrespect? I suppose the rumors are true that he'd be condescending towards absolutely anyone. Well, it's definitely on brand to his character. I mean, I want all of this to end just as much as the next guy, but if I were to take things into my own hands, I'm scared that the consequences for me wouldn't be pretty. I know I should stand up for myself, but I just can't, knowing that he has all the power in the world to end my career. Yeah, you're right. Look, don't worry about it. There is no way that a man that has abused this many people can be left having all the power for much longer. I'm sure Judgment Day will arrive for him soon. Hey, don't you remember a single thing I said? I told you that low-life scum like you don't deserve to use the company elevator. Climbing the stairs is what you deserve. Don't think you'll get away with a light kick like what you got off with today if this keeps up. Do you realize what you've done? And how inappropriate your actions were? How can you just come up to someone and kick them like that? You know that sent me to the hospital. How are you going to take responsibility for that? I can feel the pain in my back all afternoon because of the way that I fell down. God, you really are weak. Are you sure you're not a woman? It was a light tap, but you made a scene about it. You probably didn't even need to go to the hospital with an injury like that. The guy I kicked over before you took it like a champ and kept working, you know? Well, I did warn you the first time you used the elevator after all. This was all your fault for not listening to your superior's orders. They do say karma comes back around to those that do bad deeds, but this is exactly what's gonna happen. I'll come out of this victorious, and you'll lose everything. You really think something that insane will happen all of a sudden? If you're gonna go around spouting about karma, then wouldn't you think I'd have lost my position of CEO if I was a bad man? You barely have any influence, so I don't know what you're trying to achieve with your little retaliation attempt. I've had enough talking to you at this point. All the pieces are in place now. All of the evidence to do with you harassing others has been passed on to the authorities. I'll stop pretending to work under you. I have all the information I need. What are you talking about? Did you hit your head during your fall or something? I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, whatever you have planned, I'll always come out on top. I guarantee that much. I'm sure you won't be talking like that when you finally find out who I truly am. Who are you? You're a low-life, third-rate, underpaid worker, for God's sake. You're the furthest thing from corporate power. You think I'm scared of you? Go on. What would make a CEO like me afraid of my position? Tell me. I work in moderating work safety investigations. Yeah, right. Where did that come from? You think I'm gonna believe you? You're really trying to make me believe that you were a work safety investigator that pretended to work under me? There we go. You're getting it. That's exactly what I'm saying. So all of this was just a lie to make me look bad? Is that what it was? It's what you're thinking. I went undercover as a worker in order to see if your company met the legal standards required. There's no way. I don't believe it. How could you? A pathetic lowlife like you was here to investigate my workplace? Exactly. We got complaints for your company ever since it started up, with instances of people quitting early before their contract ended. So we decided to investigate within the office in order to find out what the cause of this was, and clarify if it was the result of something more sinister. And look at all this evidence that we discovered about your poor conduct. No, this can't be happening. Who was the snitch? Who made it so the authorities had their eyes on our company? I can't disclose any of that information, but I never thought it'd be this easy to find evidence against you. Regardless, this is the end of my investigation. The results are final. If you have anything more to say, then please don't message me, as I won't be responding. Instead, the police will pay you a visit sometime down the line, so please tell it to them when the time comes. No, you can't just do that. I haven't done anything wrong. We just had a little accident where you fell over. There's no evidence to prove that I was directly guilty. Well, there's plenty more evidence that I've discovered through my research. I've talked to specific people within the company in order to see how deep the rabbit hole of your abuse went down. So I think there's more than enough facts that prove that you were a vile leader from the very beginning. None of that matters. I'm the CEO, and whatever I say is what needs to be done. All of those guys that dealt with me deserved it. They couldn't even do basic simple things, so I taught them a lesson. Again, please say all that to the police when they see you. Oh, and don't think I'm bluffing either. I've sent in a report specifically for your attack against me too, so you'll definitely be seeing the authorities. Wait, you're missing my point. I told you not to go to the elevator since you weren't authorized. I was just doing my job. Surely I could have gone about it differently, but you were in a prohibited area. I haven't broken any code of conduct at all. Oh, and I'll be sending this conversation that you've had with me to the authorities too. So you can't deny that you didn't say any of this later on. You understand? They'll put you in your place. I promise you that much. Then, what do I do? Well, I've been sent to the hospital because you physically assaulted me, so there isn't much I can do with my own hands at the moment. But I'll have someone come around to see you to organize the medical fees that I owe the hospital now. Hold on, what evidence are you even talking about? All of this has been speculation based on what you've heard from others. Trust me, you don't want to go there. The list will be endless. You've treated me horribly the entire time I've been around you. If that doesn't do it for evidence for you, then how about the fact that you keep women that you fancy behind to work overtime without being paid? And then force them to have dinner with you saying that you'll pay them back in food instead? What does that have to do with anything? There's mutual consent from both sides between two adults. What's the issue? The issue is that this has been reported to happen multiple times from different victims. It doesn't help that you're clearly using your power and status in order to get what you want from these women. Again, all of this has been sent into the police to do further investigating. Stop talking about the police, for God's sake. You've done nothing but accuse me of things without giving me any direct evidence. You don't want to talk about the police? Okay, let's change the topic then. What about the work safety check then? Would you prefer that? No, let's just drop the whole topic for good. Even from our organization's perspective, inviting a woman out forcefully by making her work overtime and paying her with a dinner is an unacceptable use of power. So either way, you're done for. I'm sure in your company's contract there's no section that talks about paying your staff through bribing them to dinner. It's not an acceptable thing from your position. All right, fine. I understand what you're trying to say. I see your argument, so why don't we just call it even if I send you the money for the hospital fees? You think we can wrap things up that easily? Well, there were some areas that I wasn't particularly aware about in terms of work safety. So why don't we just make a promise here that I won't ever do anything like that to abuse my power? And in return, we can forget the whole sending this information to the police side of things. Here's what I'll do. I'll send you a little extra for the hard work you went through within your time working under me. That's not going to happen, and you know this. I've done extensive research on all of the companies that have collaborated with you in the past, and there have been reports from all of them that you've treated them unjustly. Right, and you'll never hear anything like that going forward. I promise you that. Even if we push aside all of the things regarding me sending in information to the authorities, you have to keep in mind that someone else who has been a victim will do it regardless. So even if you stop me with the bribe money, this won't end well for you. It seems everyone that works under you is planning on a giant riot against you. So if I were you, I'd suggest you just give it up while you can. Admit it, your company and your career are both done for. Hold on a second. Isn't there something we can work out? You sure have gone from thinking you were invincible all this time to helpless in the span of a few minutes, huh? But you have to understand that every single person you've looked down upon has a life that's just as important, and that their emotions are about to erupt since the opportunity is about to arise to take you down. So you better be prepared to be looked down upon for the first time in your life. Afterwards, the CEO, Adam, tried to get in contact with me and figure out which hospital I was in order to pay me off to keep me quiet. But of course, I didn't respond no matter how hard he begged. It wasn't long until the authorities came after him in order to arrest him. There was more than enough evidence at this point in order to determine how vile this man was. And it didn't help that all of his victims finally grew the courage to mass report the things that he had done over the years to the authorities. Not long after, his business fell down into bankruptcy, never to see the light of day again. Seems as though karma really comes round. If you don't treat everyone with mutual respect, then they'll do whatever they can to get you back for it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more daily stories.